I'm back.
Yo, Base Guru, next time grab first. My guy. What's up, dude? We're doing game news this morning. It's gonna be a fun time. Dan, what's up, man? Good to see you. Hey, thanks for all the stuff Saturday. That was awesome. Appreciated you being in chat and playing games with me and stuff. Talk to her, Skiro anime game. I haven't talked about it at all. Finished catching all the Snackworth legendaries. Nice. I need to finish them. I don't know when we will. One day. Thanks for the gift. Been getting news on pods. I've been seeing it, man. I haven't dove into it personally. Yo, thanks again, dude. Coming in with the clutch support. Yeah, just echoed myself. Alright, make sure all the chats are connected and working and stop first. I can't see it. I have it blocked to see the output. That was weird. I don't want to see the bot commands on the stream chat or on my own. Well, happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the morning game news. We're doing it live, and it's no longer exclusive to Twitch. At least that's the experiment, right? I don't want to draw it out. I'd like to jump into it, but I got to get everything all opened up anyway so we can talk while I'm clicking things. But yeah, we're moving the game news. I have moved the game news to mornings on Mondays and Wednesdays. This should, in theory, cut down on time I have to spend just in the office editing endlessly. You know, we'll see how it goes. There's a bunch of stuff that went on over the weekend with Ubisoft. We're going to jump into that. But I hope it hits the same as some of the other game news, you know, that we've done, the more edited one. I will try to include timestamps and things after the fact. But it's a morning show now. Mondays and Wednesdays, maybe Fridays. I don't know, though, because if I'm doing the gaming roundtable, I don't want to double up on stuff I talk about, because then I'll be like, I've already talked about this. It'll be kind of boring. Jackson, welcome in. But good to see everybody in chat. I've got at least the stories I plan on talking about opened up. If anything interesting or new pops up, let me know in chat. We'll get a link. Nero, what's going on? Good to see you. But if you guys aren't familiar, I formerly was uploading a weekly game news show that we streamed live on Twitch on Tuesday nights. And then I would stay up, edit it, have it posted for Wednesday morning. And, you know, it's fine. It's part of one of the things I like to do with content creation is talk about like the gaming industry and things going on. And I get some of that with the gaming roundtable, which is fantastic. I'm glad I don't have to do a whole lot with that. Ginger Prime really handles all of that so well. But now I'm finding myself staying in my office way longer. So I would like to repurpose some of the morning streams to do the game news segments and do them more frequently. So twice a week as opposed to once a week, which means I can actually get the news that happens after I've already pulled all my links, stuff that happens by Wednesday morning. And if there's something to talk about Friday morning, we'll do it. It'll be awesome. So we're doing game news. If you guys aren't familiar, I generally just read through articles and then commentate on them. So we're going to get started with that very shortly. But I appreciate you guys being here. If you are not already following, hit that follow button. If you are following, drop some emotes in chat. Let me know what you're up to today. How's your Monday going? It's good to see everybody. It really is. Oh man, it's gonna be a great day. All right, I actually opened these all up in the wrong browser because these sites are so flooded with ads that the articles are unreadable, and that's what I don't understand. Every gaming website, and I get it, ad revenue pays the bills. That's fine. I'm okay with this, but at the expense of the user experience means I'm not clicking in. I'm not staying on your site anymore. I will. Nope. Why would you do that, Google Docs? So stupid. It was mostly me, but here we are. Okay. I'm still trying to find like a process for having this stuff ready before I go live. And I had most everything done, but not everything. Who are you anymore? What's up, Aaron? Good to see you. I'm doing good. I'm excited for talking about game news. Okay. Now everything is in the wrong order. Is it? No. This is great. Okay. Perfect. All right, let's jump into some news. So many ads that they drive away traffic and start losing revenue. Right, like I just had to Opera GX. What game we talking about first? Oh, we're gonna jump in. Let's go ahead and shift into news mode. Unfortunately, in news mode, there's no alerts or noisy alerts. Milky Tea, welcome in. All right, well that's not good. I have it on the wrong thing. There we go. All right, let's kick things off with some Microsoft news because, that's all been good news lately. 12 years after Xbox One's all-in-one vision, Microsoft will no longer sell films or TV shows. Be honest in chat, did you use the streaming, like the movies and TV service on your Xbox? On your Xbox Series S, Xbox One, even the 360 I think had movies and TV in some form or fashion. Personally, if they were giving out free stuff, I did. But I don't have a library of stuff on Xbox Movies and TV. I do have it linked to Movies Anywhere, which was awesome. But I guess now that they're not selling anything, it doesn't matter. It had a console for gaming. Right, like that was Xbox One's big push, was the everything box. It just kind of integrated my library for Movies Anywhere. Exactly, Aaron. Exactly. I like how gaming news just felt weird lately. Gaming has felt weird lately, just all over. But no refunds will be offered for previously purchased content. You'll be able to access it. But let's look at the article. Not TV or movies. Also, different countries had different apps, etc. So region locks are hard. Yeah. That's the other thing. So Microsoft has abruptly ceased selling digital films and TV on its Xbox and PC stores. The change happened on July 18 when Microsoft confirmed that it will no longer sell movies or TV and that no refunds would be available for any previously purchased content. Microsoft has claimed that already purchased shows will be able to be re-downloaded going forward. Okay. I mean, that's fair. That's kind of like the minimum, right? A statement on the Microsoft support site reads, Microsoft no longer offers new entertainment content for purchase, including movies and TV shows on Microsoft.com, Microsoft Store on Windows, and the Microsoft Store on Xbox. However, you can continue to access your content. Okay, so they've said the same thing like 3 times now. This move seemingly sparks a complete shift away from offering video content 12 years after the disastrous Xbox One launch, which positioned the console as an all-in-one home entertainment device. Xbox One's reveal event focused almost entirely on television content. In fact, something that current gaming boss Phil Spencer has since said, with hindsight, he would have changed. Hey, Autosaver, thanks for the gift. If you go back and watch the reveal, you see is an event that was very much focused on Xbox's. Yeah, well, there's the TV meme. Okay, so yeah, we got that. So, this is great. Microsoft support site now recommends that customers use third-party services available on the Microsoft Store, such as Apple TV, Amazon Prime, and more. Microsoft has not announced what sparked the change. I guarantee you what sparked the change is they weren't making money on it, and they're having to cut everything. Because he wanted to access the recently free Xbox Media Marketplace. I don't know what that means. When they made streaming free, it was working for Apple Care and helped this 87-year-old guy who got the blue screen of death with his MacBook, bro. What? That makes no sense, bro. All right, anyway. But yeah, so they weren't making any money on this. They were just, like I said, I asked anybody use it. No, not really. You just had it. If you linked it to Movies Anywhere. Jackson, you have over 3,000 DVDs. Right, 2021, Sony did the same thing. I'm surprised Microsoft supported as long as they did, but they just can burn money for a little bit longer than Sony will. And can. But anyway, yeah, not a surprise. Just surprised it took this long. I didn't use it. It was fine. I use my Xbox as a Blu-ray player if I have physical media, but I'll go use my Roku over my Xbox for watching shows. Xbox is always an entertainment center. Yeah, for video games, which are pure entertainment. Anyway, let's move on. All right, Nintendo confirms return of mysterious Switch Online playtest program, now compatible with Switch 2. Applications actually opened up today, but this came out on the 18th. This is over at IGN. Mysterious Switch Online playtest program will once again take place later this month, now compatible with Switch 2. Nintendo said this playtest will be another outing for the same service it previously shared with a select few fans in October 2024. Then, of course, just on the original Switch. While applications to participate are open to all Switch Online plus expansion pack subscribers, numbers will be limited to just 40,000 players globally, and the test contents are once again designed to be kept secret. Though, of course, details of the hush-hush software previously spilled online last year anyway. Applications to take part in the playtest, either as an individual or a group, open later today and can then be submitted next Monday, July 21st to Wednesday, July 23rd. If you're lucky enough to be picked, the playtest itself will then be available from Tuesday, July 29 to Monday, August 11. Entrance must be over 18. Nintendo's website with details makes clear the company's desire for secrecy. We request you do not discuss or disclose content from either the Switch Online playtest program, test software, or website with others. If you participate as a group, you may communicate and exchange information as long as it remains within the bounds of your group. Why let a group in if you're not going to talk about it? Like, that's wild. Okay, so yeah, here's the tweet. I have my application in. I'm gonna submit it. Hopefully after this stream is done, it'll open up. During last year's playtest, Nintendo used copyright strikes to see screenshots of its secret software scrubbed from social media. But of course, some evidence of the playtest still exists, and it's pretty easy to find via quick search on Reddit. So what's being tested? Widely compared to a Nintendo take on Minecraft, the experimental game allowed users to pick up and assemble blocks to create structures in specific areas of a shared world alongside other users. The gameplay footage that briefly appeared online last year appeared as work in progress, as you'd expect, but suggested Nintendo was keen to explore the concept further with actual players and see what people got up to. So this could be cool, right? Please don't talk about it, members of the public. We can't control. Right, like, hey, we're inviting people to try it, but don't you dare talk about it. Which is wild. Like, that's crazy. It's gonna leak. We got stuff last year on it. I'm gonna try to get my application in, at least check it out, but I won't talk about it. Never understood it. It had a life system and whatnot too. That's what I heard. I heard details, but I didn't jump into it. But it seems like Nintendo really wants a good live service game, and jumping into some kind of MMO or shared world space. It's a great idea. So hopefully it pans out for them. But I want to get in. I want to be able to see what all the hullabaloo is, right? So I hope I can get in. If you haven't submitted your application, well, you can't submit it yet, but you haven't created it. You got to go create it. So try to do that. Get that done. Anywho, all right. Well, let's move on. Let's talk about the Pokemon Presents showcase. This is tomorrow morning. I will be doing a reaction stream, but I cannot stay too long after it. But Pokemon Presents showcase length revealed in new leak. So tomorrow's Pokemon Presents 7/22/25. The leak shows that we knew it's taking place tomorrow. It's longer than last year's event. Just give me the minutes. Here it is. Centro Leaks posted it. The week's Pokemon Presents will be 24 minutes long, which is great because usually they've been about 12, 13 minutes. You're looking at 15 minutes of total like runtime and discussion time and everything. But 24 minutes, what are we getting? I'm sure there's going to be the Pokemon Cafe Mix, Sleep, and Unite updates that they go, boom. Oh yeah, Pokemon Masters EX. We talk about that one too. That's definitely coming up. And then hopefully we get some ZA, something or other, Gen 10 teases, or maybe something with Scarlet and Violet. I don't know. There'll probably be some special Terra raid that they show. So that would be wild. Collision, thanks for liking and subbing. That's awesome. I'm looking forward to this. We'll do a reaction stream tomorrow morning. It'll be early. 6 a.m. Pacific time means 8 a.m. stream for me, which means I'm gonna have to like actually wake up on time and be ready, which I'm gonna have to anyway if I'm planning on doing game news on Monday and Wednesday. I'm very much looking forward to it though. After these news, see if Rivals has any news. We could look. If you got any links, recommend them to me. Brent, good morning. Good to see you. So yeah, that's kind of cool. That is 24 minutes. I mean, it's longer. I needed to know the runtime because I have to get my kid to cross-country practice, and that was going to be kind of tricky to figure out. Anyway, all right, let's move on. Okay, let's talk about Ubisoft, because the title says, is there any hope? Ubisoft's kind of doomed. Are they out of touch? Well, I came across this article from Not the Bee, who might be more politically leaning than others. I'm not going to jump into the details. They talk about the EULA, End-User License Agreement. And this is the part of the article that is important and kind of carries the rest of the discussion through the game news this morning, because we're about to rail on Ubisoft pretty hard. They are in a bad spot, and they just keep digging the hole deeper. But let's start with this. The end-user license agreement is effective from the earlier of the date you purchase, download, or use the product until terminated according to its terms. You and Ubisoft or its licensors may terminate this EULA at any time for any reason. Termination by Ubisoft will be effective upon notice to you or termination of your Ubisoft account, or at the time of Ubisoft's decision to discontinue offering and or supporting the product. This EULA will terminate automatically if you fail to comply with any of the terms and conditions of this EULA. That's a bad sentence, right? This will automatically terminate if you fail to comply with this. Like, what? That's terrible. Legalese sucks. All right, but this is the kicker. We'll make it real big so everybody can see it. Upon termination for any reason, you must immediately uninstall the product and destroy all copies of the product in your possession. So when you buy a game and Ubisoft goes, hey, you're banned, we don't support the game anymore, or Ubisoft is just done, you have to destroy your physical games. What? Like, destroy it. Like, take my Splinter Cell Chaos Theory disc and just... No, okay, I'm not doing that, first of all. Even if the game doesn't work. Yo, thanks for that sub. Even if the game doesn't work, like, anymore online, no, I'm not destroying it, first of all. I paid for it. It's my copy. You are absolutely insane. And I was kind of taken aback by this. What's up, Easton? Right, Dan. Just wow, right? So I was, like, just mind blown by this. Because how do you tell people, hey, you have to destroy the thing you bought if we don't support it anymore? That's like Ford going, hey, we're not making the Mustang anymore, and you have to go bring it to the dump and get it destroyed. Like, you have to do that. That's on you. It's like, what's happening? Why is it this way? You know, like, no, I bought the thing. It is my thing. So I was kind of taken aback by that. Well, it turns out Ubisoft's clause is from the gamer. Ubisoft's clause ordering you to destroy your games isn't new, nor is it unique. All right, that's not surprising that somebody else has this worded this way, right? It says Ubisoft's being called out for a clause people have discovered in its license agreement that orders owners of its games to destroy them should the studio choose to end service for those games. However, not only is the clause not new, as some have implied, but Ubisoft is far from the only studio that has it in its license agreement. The clause in Ubisoft's end-user license agreement, the same one any of you will have agreed to if you legally played a Ubisoft game, that has been causing a stir, is Clause 8, the termination clause. We just read it. That does mean what you think it means, that should Ubisoft decide to end a service, not only can you no longer play it, you must destroy any copies of the game you own. Alright, so this is going around. How does this benefit them? Twitch was open, didn't notice I went live. Ripped and hollered. Rip. But people have been picking apart EULAs. But I wanted to get to the part where somebody highlighted. Okay, so this article points out it's not new to Ubisoft. It's not new. It's been in there for a while. But as highlighted on Reddit, The same clause can be found in the EULAs for various games on Steam. Final Fantasy VII Remake, Metaphor Fantasio, I don't know, Oblivion Remastered. Phasmophobia Dev also pointed out similar clause in multiple agreements when the game was called out for the exact same thing 2 years ago. So, and this is really the crux of it. All of this further evidence we don't own our games, not even physical copies. Sure, no one's going to come knocking at your door to check if you still have a physical copy of The Crew and then stand there and watch while you throw it into a bonfire. But that the clause is there is wild all the same. Well, it's so they can hold you accountable if you do get into legal trouble, which I think is stupid because I bought it. Kashish, welcome. Love from India. Dude, awesome. Thanks for watching from India. Will, exactly. It doesn't benefit them unless they can get something out of you. If they pursue you, like, lawsuit-wise and stuff. And that's kind of where, like, the bonkers part of it is. Right? Like, it doesn't... There's no way... It's unenforceable. Right? So, I really just looked at this and went, well, if they're not the only one doing it, and game ownership really doesn't matter, like, Ubisoft's just like, hey, you might as well just, you know... not buy our stuff because we really don't care. And this is kind of in response to Stop Killing Games and that whole thing. And you know, the company's not in a positive light at all, right? Like, that's why all of this is kind of bubbled up right now. But yeah, physical media is doomed. Like, the writing is on the wall that, like, studios and publishers do not want you to own anything. And that's kind of a scary place to be because, you know, why am I spending $70, $80 on stuff that I don't own? I'm just temporarily borrowing it. Like, what? I don't think that's fair. But, so, Ubisoft's weekend just keeps getting worse, right? Because this article is kind of old. This is from July 7th. And this one was published recently on Not To Be. And they're usually kind of behind on, like, news stuff. But they had a shareholder call this weekend. And, This is where we'll start. This is July 19th. Ubisoft's out-of-touch shareholders think Valorant will steal sales. Valorant is a shooter published by... I forgot the studio name. You know, the people that make League. What is their name? Riot. Thank you, Dan. It just blanked. I just absolutely went derp on it. Okay. Anyway, recent Ubisoft shareholder meeting... Yves Guillemot and Frederic Duguet, I don't know, French name, CEO and CFO respectively, fielded questions from a less than impressed audience. If nothing else, the session was a glaring indictment of how much the shareholders know about the company they've invested in. At one point, a 20-year individual shareholder slammed the company's leadership and stressed his disappointment at the catastrophic share price. After that, he demanded to know what Ubisoft is doing about Valorant, a game that a lot of people have been talking about that could steal sales from Ubisoft. He says, I was confused as well. I'm thoroughly confused. Okay, so here's the quote. I'm unhappy with the catastrophic share price, minus 40% over 10 years. I'm very disappointed with everything we've been seeing of late. I've got real concerns. I don't recognize Ubisoft that I once knew in the past. How is it that the head of HR saw nothing? We operate in these buildings, so how is it they didn't stop it? How is it that nothing was seen, nothing was done? How can we tackle the increasing prices, the fact that we have gamers that are becoming more and more demanding? We're not more and more demanding. You guys keep taking more and more stuff away and trying to package it up as premium features that we got to pay more for. Don't accuse gamers of being more demanding. We're not. We really aren't. We just want good games. You guys just keep nickel and diming us for the same crap over and over. Tencent, who own Riot, have just taken a big slice of the Ubisoft shares. Tencent there was a subsidiary that Tencent, I believe, just opened up with Ubisoft. It's like a Ubisoft partnership. So, like, that's even weirder. Why would you complain about Valorant when the parent company there? It's so weird. Okay, but anyway. So this guy is like super out of touch. Sorry, I might have this slightly wrong. Yeah, that's it's along the same lines though. So he's talking about allegations of the company's working conditions, people being awful and gross and whatever. So, let's see here. Like, placated, the shareholder moved on to his next topic, perhaps revealing a chink in his armor when it came to the depth of his knowledge of games. About competition, there's a game that a lot of people have been talking about, Valorant. Have a lot of people been talking about Valorant? People, I'm not in the Valorant circle. I'm really not in the shooter circle much at all. So, like, I like what I like, and I know what I like. But are a lot of people talking about Valorant? Because he says a lot of people have said good things about it, and I would just like to know what you think of it. Is there anything good that Ubisoft could learn from that? Really, what's your opinion on this game? It seems like all gamers love it. If they love it, that means it's going to be a drop in sales for Ubisoft. So what's your take? Well, that's not how that works, because that's a free-to-play game, and they sell skins? Valorant's great, but it's not the same as any Ubisoft game. The closest thing they have is Siege, which I think they bring up here, because I did read through this. If you look at Rainbow Six and other games of that same ilk, it's exactly what we're trying to do. Valorant is a top 5 game. Rainbow Six is a top 15 game. What we want to do is have that in the top 10 and the top 5 eventually. Something we can learn from Valorant is that we've enhanced the overall offering for our game. They make completely different stuff. They do. But yeah, okay, so the shareholders, I mean, not that this one guy speaks for all the shareholders, but they have to field questions like this, and it's just like, well, what do we make of it? Valorant's a very well-polished free-to-play game that came out with almost 0 bugs. That is very fair. And no Ubisoft game really ever launches without some kind of issues, usually in the monetization sector, which we'll get into. But, like, this is kind of, you know, hey, you know, shareholders support the company. They should be holding Ubisoft accountable. But this isn't accountability. This is just an uninformed person, right? But these people are upset with Ubisoft. This guy is upset with Ubisoft, and he should be. If my money was tied up in Ubisoft stock, I would be angry with how this company's been managed. So let's shift from the shareholders to the CEO himself. Ubisoft CEO thinks Star Wars Outlaws failed because the brand was less popular. Again, how out of touch are you with your own company? During the shareholder meeting, Ubisoft CEO was asked several questions about the development and eventual release of Star Wars Outlaws. It's no big secret the game didn't perform as well as expected, and in September, Insider Gaming exclusively revealed that the title had sold just 1 million copies in a month on the market. Talking about the issues that plagued Outlaws, he made a suggestion about the Star Wars brand that hasn't sat well with some fans. Let's just jump to the quote. For Star Wars Outlaws, we didn't reach our sales targets. The game suffered from a number of items. First, it suffered from the fact that it was released at a time when the brand that it belonged to, was in a bit of choppy waters, and the game had a few items that still needed to be polished, and they were polished and debugged in the early weeks, but it did affect sales volumes. The game broke at launch. It launched in a broke, ugly mess, right? It needed a lot of QA time that it clearly didn't get. So a bit of choppy waters. No, I saw the footage. I saw the gameplay that everybody else saw. I mean, it reminded me of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. That's what it reminded me of. We did heavily improve the game by troubleshooting and debugging when it will be released on the upcoming consoles, such as Switch 2, it will be the new version of the game. Okay. Hey, we launched it broken, but we did fix it. You know, Star Wars Outlaws was released 24. Let's see, where's the quote from him saying that it's the brand? I guess it's not in here. Oh, the brand that belonged to was in a bit of choppy waters. Well, no, not really. Star Wars should always make money, even when it's at its worst. People still eat it up, you know? Yes, a lot of the Disney Plus shows have missed with audiences, but that's just streaming in general. Streaming has become cable, so, you know, like, come on. You're putting a lot of money into something that isn't going to guarantee views unless you actually have a good product to offer consistently. And I think Disney Plus overall is a hard sell unless you have kids and family. And even then, maybe not, you know. But to say that the brand is in choppy waters, well, that's weird, because Star Wars Battlefront 2 is how old? How old is Star Wars Battlefront 2? And it is hit in like the top 10, top 5 Steam charts in the last couple of months, because people want a new Star Wars Battlefront game. They want a new Star Wars game that's actually whole and fun. And then you have EA. The Jedi games are good that they just put out. Like, This is what, you know. So don't tell me Outlaws was bad because Star Wars sucked. Like, that's not true. You know, Star Wars could be awful. You could still make a good game. So no, Outlaws could have been way better, but they botched the launch. And you can't always pull a Cyberpunk where you launch real buggy and then fix it all and kind of re-release the game. You know, and people are actually getting there's fatigue with that. People are tired of that. You know, I don't want to buy some games at launch because I know they're gonna be a mess. The next Pokemon game after ZA, because I think Legends ZA is gonna be fine, but the next mainline game, I don't know if I want to get it at launch because of how Scarlet and Violet launched. They're gonna need to do a lot to prove to me that they have it under control. I don't think they can in like footage and trying to reassure me. You know, I think overall, like, big games are gonna be in a rough spot when they come out, just because of how things have launched over the last few years. Everything's broken when it comes out. Nowadays, I feel like pre-orders are less and less as a reaction to companies putting out buggy games. Exactly. Game companies have always relied on those pre-orders to set shareholder expectations. Right. People are so hyped for our game. Look how much money we got before we even sold it. And I was like, yeah, that doesn't mean anything if I cancel it because I saw the buggy footage. Time over quality is the life we live in now. Right. Yeah, well, and you know, I'm not against capitalism. It's a very good system. You know, I think it works very well in a lot of ways, but when a company's goal is all the money at the expense of everything else, that's where the system starts to break down, because you have their goofy end user license agreements that are like, oh, if we just decide to pull the plug, you got to get rid of it, you know? And it's like, do you really think that side is enforceable? But you can also just shovel poop in our direction and expect us to buy it. Like, for real. Look at games on Steam and compare how many are early access over a full release. No, it's true. And marking it early access is fair, but how many years? Like, what is it? Star Citizen is still in beta? Bacon, welcome in. So it's a little odd, right? And like I said, it's not sustainable long term. I don't think it ever will be. And I think we're finally at a point where companies are seeing the consequences of stuff being so broken. Star Citizen is a little ridiculous even for early access. No, it's absolutely ridiculous. You like my setup? Hey, thanks. I'm like fiddling with my headphones. Satisfactory was in early access for years. They're constantly adding substantive features. Right. Well, I mean, look at Minecraft. You know, and look at all these other games that have done well with early access. You know, but just because something was successful in a pre-launch state, you know, and they were able to build out their game a little more, doesn't mean everything should be early access. But it also doesn't mean if you're not going to go the early access route, you just release a buggy mess. Are you an Xbox guy or a PlayStation guy? I'm a gamer, dude. I do all of it. I don't care. I don't care who makes the plastic box. I just want good games. That's what I want. So, you know, blaming the Star Wars IP is a bold move for why your game did poorly. You know, like this is wild to me. So, you know, we'll move on. But Ubisoft is in a bad spot, and their perception is probably worse than EA right now, especially with this. Look at this. Okay, so if you thought that was bad, Ubisoft says monetization makes the player experience more fun. I want you to look at me, Ubisoft CEO, if you were watching this video, which you won't, but if you would, if this comes across your desk, look me in my eyeballs. That is not a true statement. That's a lie. That's a lie sold to you by marketing and liars. That's what that is. Like, come on. Okay, Ubisoft recently published a 400-page universal registration document and annual financial report that covers everything you could ever hope to learn about the company. One tidbit that's being taken away with reckless abandon is a mention about the company's monetization model and the impact it has on the player. You'll laugh when you hear what Ubisoft thinks about games with microtransactions. The Golden Rule. Supersized Ubisoft report covers every facet of the company's performance and development between 2024 and 2025. It's available for anyone with a keen eye for facts and figures to leaf through. That's your kind of thing. No, it's not my kind of thing. Let's just jump to the quote. The adoption of monetization and engagement policies that respect the player experience and are sustainable in the long term. At Ubisoft, the golden rule when developing premium games is to allow players to enjoy the game in full without having to spend more. Our monetization offer with premium games makes the player experience more fun by allowing them to personalize their avatars or progress more quickly. However, this is always optional. On page 135, another reference to monetization popped up. Safety and well-being of our players is our top priority, and we do everything we can to protect their data, provide safe and enjoyable gaming environments, and guarantee responsible monetization mechanisms. Like, what? I'm so confused by this. Ubisoft is rare at this point. They're worse. They're so much worse. Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. Yes, that was a weird game. That was so many words. Right. Like, that's a lot of big corporate-y buzzwords. Through its code of conduct, the group is committed to adopting a fair and transparent approach to monetization in gaming, offering fun, engaging, and immersive gaming experiences while ensuring the safety and well-being of players. Ubisoft's monetization strategy aims to enrich players' gaming experience by balancing two main pillars, optionality and fairness across all genres. Okay, I'm sorry, but no. Okay, this is not true. Whoever did this research is a liar. Makes the experience more fun by going, hey, you can play the game as we built it, or give us money and make it even easier, or not have to grind as much. But now we've added so much grinding that you'll want to pay for it. Like, come on now. We're not falling for this. We're not stupid. We're not stupid. We know the thing. We know the truth of the matter. And so it's just absolutely nonsense that they would think this. How out of touch is this company and their leadership? I really think the writing's on the wall. Ubisoft has a deep hole that they can't dig out. And to put the icing on the cake, because we talked about stop killing games, but to really top it off today, PC Gamer has a nice little quote. Ubisoft CEO responds to the Stop Killing Games petition, stating the publisher is working on improving its approach to end-of-life support, but that nothing is eternal. Okay, fair. Nothing is eternal. Everything will be gone at some point. Everything today will not be available forever, and that's okay. I can accept that. That's life. However, nobody is saying Ubisoft should support the crew for all eternity. What people were saying is the crew works single player. Why can't we play it offline? Why is it that the game just doesn't work anymore? That makes no sense. It's that simple. You know, makes no sense. Dude is out of touch. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I meant to mute for that one, but I didn't have time. Anyway, it's just, you know, oh man, it really rubbed me the wrong way when I was reading this stuff last night and just getting prepped for this morning to just go over this stuff. But like, golly, Ubisoft, you really dug that hole deep, you know. And now it's like, Stop Killing Games is not meant to burden the company with forever support for a game. It's just asking the finer points and the implementation should be debated, you know, because it's unrealistic to ask Ubisoft to support a game forever. However, nobody's asking them to do that. They're just saying, hey, if you don't want to support it anymore, can we just get like an open source server and run the server ourselves, or get a server client that you don't provide any support or patches to. You just give us a server client and we can run the game if it's an online heavy game. If it's a single player game, can we just still enjoy the single player without having an online check-in or having to connect to Ubisoft servers? That's all we're asking. What benefit is there in not doing that, other than making, you know, your audience dislike you even more. I guess that's what I don't understand. That's what I don't understand with what Ubisoft is doing. I think I got a little too worked up, chat. A little bit too worked up. I also noticed that the vertical stream is not correct on the sources there, so that's interesting. That it should have been. I don't want to cause it to change anything. It shouldn't change, but it should have been this the whole time. That's my keep the passion. Dude, I'm so confused and a little concerned by what they're attempting to do or not do. I don't know what's the end goal, you think, chat? And obviously they're a company. Companies want to make all the money. But is there money in driving your consumers away from your product or products, or just releasing crap and telling us, "Oh yeah, you should enjoy it," or pulling the plug on the stuff we do like and telling us, "Oh well, too bad, buy the new thing"? I don't know. I'd have to be a shareholder and watching the constant. I'd hate to be a shareholder and watching the constant terrible statements being put out. Dude, I would sell. New idea. Get hired by a software dev company, then tell them they have to keep paying you or the code you wrote will be turned off. That's just job security. No, but it is, you know, you see how quickly you get fired. See how quickly you get fired for that, and probably sued, right? Like, come on. I really hope, because I'm in the U.S. and our legal system works very different. The laws we have, they need work in the consumer protection department, right? In that area, their PR team clearly aren't allowed to review these statements before being published, or they're okay with it. This dude's accused of a lot of nepotism, a lot of nepo babies working there. You know, from what I understand, I'm not claiming facts. I'm saying allegedly. There's a lot of nepotism at Ubisoft. A lot of people with the same last name holding higher up positions. And, you know, it starts to explain why things are the way they are there. Because of how out of touch their whole family seems with gaming. And what gamers expect. I'm still kind of stuck here on this shareholder being like, gamers are becoming more demanding. My demands have not changed in, like, I don't know, 20 years. You know, I'm almost 40. So since my early 20s, I just want good games. That's all I want. I want games that are fun. I want games that I can enjoy with friends. I want games I can enjoy by myself. I want games that don't nickel and dime me every opportunity they get just to play the base game. You know, like there's so much that I just feel like corporate like gaming, the corporate side of gaming just is so disconnected from. Obviously, they have to be able to make money. Obviously, they have to be able to like fund the projects that people are going to buy. However, they keep putting out crap. You know, like the AAA space is in a rough spot. You know, because even as good as Donkey Kong Bonanza is, $70 is still a lot for a game, you know, and I get that things are expensive. Things cost money. I'm not saying that's the problem. I'm saying the industry as a whole is kind of eating crow at this point because they keep pushing this stuff down the pipe, and marketing and HR and everyone's like kind of complicit in it, right? At this point, that this is the things we need. This is the things we'll enjoy as gamers. And then it turns out we don't enjoy it, but they blame us and our demands. And all we're trying to do is just enjoy games. It legit doesn't make sense to me. Like, I am so confused by that. But anyway, that does it for the game news. Destiny's a prime example of what we don't want. I have my issues. Okay, so Destiny 2... is an interesting game to me because I like the gameplay, but I don't like sunsetting old content and making it to where you can't play the old DLCs. Don't even get physical copies much anymore. I agree, Lucas. Yeah, well, physical's been on the way out for a while. It's getting worse with each generation. If you're a physical media guy, I get it. I've started trying to buy more physical movies because, you know, the way streaming services will go, hey, we took the scene out for some reason on US Netflix, but not the rest of the world. The rest of the world can watch this one scene. You know, not big on it. Well, playing Destiny, but it really ran me in the ground in terms of the constant grind. That put me off. But the biggest thing, okay, so the biggest thing with Destiny 1, that I skipped Destiny 1 entirely because of the PlayStation exclusive content that was like story related. And then it came, they were like, oh yeah, it's going to be exclusive for like 2 years. And then it finally comes to Xbox, or it's finally time for it to release on Xbox. And they're like, oh yeah, we're not releasing it at all. It's too late. Destiny 2 is coming out soon. You don't get the content now. Okay. To couple that with, hey, that content you paid for in the past, you can't engage with it. It's gone. It's not accessible. We're just pushing the new stuff. There's no way for you to go back and play the old content. Destiny 2 is really bad about it because so much of the launch content, which if you want the full story, like there was plot there, right? Like, am I crazy in thinking that, you know, maybe I wanted to experience the full game and not just parts of the game? Running the same missions over and over again for parts. Yeah. No, I agree. The grind is rough with the way Destiny works. I think if you're playing with friends, it can be a fun, casual game. And the PvP mode, I kind of enjoyed. But it came down to, you know, did you grind enough for good gear? Did you buy good gear, you know, to stay competitive? Like that part I didn't like, no. But yeah, that's where I'm going to leave it. That's where we're going to leave it for today. What'd you guys think? Game news in the morning. Good, bad, indifferent? You guys want to... You guys come back for that? Or do you want me to just go back to playing Fortnite and Pokemon Unite and not talking to chat as much? You quite enjoyed it, dude. I quite enjoyed you being here. I always like to get feedback. I love feedback from the community. Prefer game news in the morning? Nice, Denali. Thank you. That means a lot. Because we're going to do... This is going to be Mondays and Wednesdays now. Can't watch the evening one live. Yeah, we're usually collabing. Actually, Denal, this opens us up to be able to collab on Tuesdays. Nice to have the time to talk as well. Absolutely. Sometimes I'm in meetings, so is lovely. Perfect. I love it. And if you can catch it on the VOD, you know, I don't have to go and edit this. This is just going to be what exists out there. Maybe that's good. Maybe that's bad. I don't know. We'll see how the performance is. I can grab some clips from this and post them. What do I have planned tomorrow? Well, I would like to play Pokemon Unite tomorrow because it's the 4th anniversary, and I would like to just dive into that. So I'm not on Twitch much in the evenings. I see who watches the VODs and who doesn't. You can still clips and add YouTube Shorts for exposure. Yeah, I could clip the show and rant about issues there, or pull the ranty kind of angry stuff out. That's fair. Denali, we'll get something on the calendar, though. We'll get something on the calendar for sure. But all right, guys. Well, let's find somebody to raid on Twitch, and I'm going to call it a day. Leet Ryan, what's up? Is this a real stream? No, it's fake. You're in a coma, and it's time to wake up. W. Okay, bro. You knew I was certified? That's why you clicked on me? Alright, well, cool. I do have to go, though. I have to get to work now. And that's all the time I have. Morning streams are an hour, unless I can go longer. Most people don't know Leet. I have 1337 subscribers on YouTube right now. It just makes me laugh. Leet, follow and bug you another day? Sweet. Keep it family friendly, and you're welcome back anytime. Had to dip at the end. Guess I have to go watch. You do have to go watch. Alright, who are we sending this to? Let's see here. Talks is live. We'll send it to Talks. Well, that's not okay. Thanks, Automod. Alright. What is happening here? Hey, Commando. Dan, y'all have a good day. Okay, I'm trying to get back to my thing here. Thanks for streaming. Hey, thanks for being here, Will. That's not it. T7LKS. All right. Y'all have a great day. Love you. God bless, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.